Before we dive into tonight's dark mysteries, we want to invite you to join our community. Sign up now and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any sinister details. Get active in the comments and share your theories. But remember, save your like for the end, as the twists and turns promise to be shocking. Ready to unravel a mystery that crosses borders and defies reason. As dusk fell over Chicago, a blanket of rain began to envelop the city, transforming the streets into glowing, enigmatic corridors. Maria Anderson, a young woman expecting twins, left the doctor's office alone in the early evening. It was an unusual occasion for Maria, who was usually accompanied by family or friends, but that night, no one was available to be by her side. She had arrived at the office using a transportation service via app and planned to return the same way. The driver, who had taken her, was patiently waiting for her outside the office, oblivious to the dark fate that the night had in store for her. Maria, with a kind smile, thanked the doctor and left, closing the office door behind her, getting into the car without suspecting that this would be her last trip seen by known eyes. John Anderson, her husband, was preparing for a special night at home. Dinner by candlelight, the candles flickering awaiting Mary's return, eager to celebrate the imminent arrival of her children. The hours began to pass, each tick of the clock expanding the void that Maria left by not arriving. John's worry soon turned to panic. Frantic calls to Maria's cell phone were returned only to voicemail. By daybreak, Maria's disappearance was already public knowledge. Posters with his portrait, capturing his hopeful smile, adorned every neighborhood corner, every store window. The virtual community mobilized with the hashtag #FindMariaAnderson, transforming the search for her into a common cause. Social media was buzzing with solidarity and concern, as Maria's family desperately clung to every new piece of information, every hint that could bring Maria back to the warmth of home. As the rain continued to fall, each drop seemed to carry the weight of the unknown, each puddle reflecting not just the city's lights but the shadow of a question no one wanted to ask. Where was Maria Anderson? Why did she disappear so abruptly on a night that started like any other? And what could have happened on that short journey that so radically changed the fate of a young mother and her future children? Could the answers be hidden in the darkness of that rainy night, or lost forever in the shadows that stretch beyond what the eye can see? As days turned into weeks, the disappearance of Maria Anderson, the young Chicago mother pregnant with twins, began to resonate far beyond city and state borders. Soon, the news had crossed oceans, capturing the attention of international media. Television programs in several languages discussed the case, blogs and online forums were buzzing with speculation and theories, while hashtags in support of the search for Maria proliferated on social media. The world watched, breathed, and lived the mystery of his disappearance, each new detail widely disseminated and discussed. In Chicago, local police, under increasing pressure from a globally invested public, found themselves forced to intensify their efforts. They formed a special task force, working closely with Interpol. Sensitive information and tips began to point to a sinister connection to human trafficking networks that operated in the shadows of the civilized world, a dark territory where the law struggled to penetrate. The hypothesis that Maria could have been captured by such a network brought a new level of terror and urgency to the investigation. At the same time, Robert Carter, Maria's father, a man already marked by the deep wrinkles of time and worry, together with his brother James Carter, a former detective with a career marked by dark and unsolved cases, decided to take control of the case. Suspicious of the limitations and bureaucratic slowness of official agencies, they began a parallel investigation. Armed with years of experience and a desperation that only a father and uncle could feel, they scoured every ignored clue, every mentioned possible hiding place in the city's forgotten suburbs. Their search was fueled not just by information and intuition, but by an unbreakable love and a growing anger against the injustices that allowed such crimes to continue. Night after night, they pored over maps, reports, and records, connecting dots in a web that seemed to expand and become more complicated with each discovery. As Robert and James walked the dark streets, facing suspicious looks and closed doors, one question kept them awake: who took Mary from us and why? Each step forward in the investigation seemed to only sink them deeper into a maze of despair and danger. However, their determination did not waver, as they knew that every moment lost could mean the difference between life and death, not only for Mary, but for the innocence she still carried. As the weeks unfolded, the hope of finding Maria Anderson began to fade. Broken hearts marked the rhythm of fruitless searches, but everything changed on a gray afternoon. A weathered security camera, situated on the banks of an old train and wagon cemetery, captured blurry images that hinted at the presence of a female figure with the urgency of Mary. This lead, neglected by official investigations, rekindled a flame of hope and despair in Robert and James. Determined to follow the faint thread of hope, they ignored the multiple warnings and headed to the train cemetery, a restricted government site forgotten by time. There, among the metal skeletons of an industrial past, the place echoed stories of better days, now silenced by the cold wind that whistled through the abandoned carriages. Armed only with the strength of their fatherly love, Robert and James entered this forbidden territory, determined to discover Mary's fate. As night fell and the temperature dropped, they cautiously advanced between the steel colossi, their flashlights barely illuminating the labyrinthine path. The environment became increasingly dense, filled with an atmosphere of fear and determination. The echoes of the past seemed to whisper between the trails, and the possibility of unraveling the mystery of Mary drove each step they took, facing the darkness that deepened around them. In this dark scenario, they made a discovery that stopped their hearts: a personal item of Maria's, possibly left behind during a fight or in a moment of carelessness. This small but significant sign reinforced that they were on the right path. The find not only indicated that Maria had been there, but also that they were close to uncovering even darker secrets hidden in the shadows of that train cemetery. This discovery promises profound and disturbing revelations, and every person following this story remains on the edge of their seat, eager for answers. As we move into the next act, we invite you to stay with us on this chilling journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any details. Comment your theories and share this mystery. What secrets are still hidden in this train graveyard? What fate awaits Mary? Your interaction is crucial, because together, perhaps we can illuminate the shadows that still hide the truth. As Robert and James ventured through the abandoned train graveyard, the oppressive silence and biting cold passing between the empty carriages only intensified the mystery that surrounded them. After hours of incessant searching, they came across an isolated carriage, locked by rusty chains. With shaking hands, James broke the padlock, opening the way to what they hoped would be a crucial clue. The door opened with a heavy creak, revealing a scene that for a moment brought relief and despair in equal measure. Inside the dark carriage, lit only by the dim light of their flashlights, they found two twin babies lying on a makeshift bed of worn-out blankets. The little ones looked at the world around them with innocent curiosity. They looked healthy and well cared for, which brought brief comfort to the men's tormented hearts. However, Maria's absence filled the space with a frightening emptiness, making it clear that the mystery of her whereabouts remained intact. In the corner of the carriage, a small, folded piece of paper caught Robert's eye. With shaking hands, he unfolded the note, and the words written there were like a direct blow to the soul. "Do not look for her where she cannot be found." This enigmatic message, filled with despair, seemed to seal Mary's fate with a terrifying finality. Who had written this? And, more importantly, what exactly did that mean? These were questions that burned in their minds as they faced the reality of the situation with increasing anguish. The discovery of the twins was simultaneously a victory and a torment for Robert and James. Evidence suggested that Maria had been there recently, perhaps looking after her children until a moment before she abruptly disappeared. The message next to the babies suggested a farewell, perhaps even a grim acceptance that Mary knew she would not return. Faced with this, they found themselves faced with a torturous dilemma. Continue the search in defiance of the mysterious warning, or accept that Maria might be beyond the reach of any hope of rescue. Despite the crushing weight of their circumstances, their decision was driven by the unbreakable love and fierce determination that only family can know. Armed with a new clue and carrying the twins safely, they prepared for the next stage of the investigation, determined to uncover every shadow and every secret hidden in that abandoned place. Meanwhile, Maria's story, now intertwined with that of her children, captivated people around the world, turning all listeners into active parties in the search for answers. With each theory shared, each comment left, the plot deepened, and public engagement became essential to illuminate the darkest corners of this persistent mystery. Don't forget to like and subscribe to follow every twist and turn of this exciting and suspenseful saga. As Maria Anderson's saga moves to an uncertain end, the mood is charged with palpable sadness and profound desolation. Tireless investigations and sleepless nights have failed to unravel Maria's fate, and the community that once united in hope is now shaken by doubt and fear. The streets, which echoed with calls for her return, now murmur unanswered questions, leaving a mystery that haunts everyone. Who took Mary, and why did they leave the innocent twins behind? Maria and John's home, meticulously prepared to welcome new lives, became a symbol of broken hopes and dreams. As the twins grow, their every smile serves as a sweet yet painful reminder of what was lost. Against this backdrop of mourning, a cryptic note found with the babies casts an even darker shadow over the case. Do not look for her where she cannot be found. These words, which seem both a warning and a riddle, suggest that some truths may forever be hidden in the shadows, beyond the reach of justice and reason. As this story concludes, it does not just end a narrative, but an open wound is perpetuated in the hearts of everyone who followed each harrowing twist. The mystery surrounding Maria's disappearance is not just one element of a dark plot. It is an invitation for all of us to look deeper, question what has been presented, and never forget how fragile human life is. We invite you, our listeners, to keep the search for answers alive. Comment your theories, share your reflections, and continue engaged with our narrative. Finally, we reinforce the invitation so that you do not let this story be lost in oblivion. Subscribe, like, and share this mystery, as your participation not only helps spread the word, but also keeps the flame of hope burning. Together, perhaps we can uncover the answers that Maria and her family deserve and, who knows, bring a little peace to this case that until now has brought only pain and uncertainty. United, let us illuminate the darkest corners of this mystery, because somewhere, hidden beyond the despair and sadness, the truth waits to be discovered.